All right. Given what you said about Eminem and also putting into frame your recent Jack Harlow video that you did on him that I thought was pretty funny and made some very good points as well.
No, I'm not joking. People actually are saying that Jack Harlow is top 5. I say that it has much more to do with his personality, because you could compare him to someone like a Big Sean, who I do prefer over Jack Harlow these days, with the type of music and the type of vigor Big Sean shows in his most recent records. But Jack Harlow exudes that similar energy. Early Big Sean, early Drake. So I was wondering for a second why Jack Harlow seemed to have so much more of a successful breakout than someone like Big Sean. People were breaking down Big Sean lyrics like they were old text messages off of a racist CEO's phone. But I'm listening to this Jack Harlow record, which like I said, isn't bad, isn't trash. But I'm listening to these lyrics. You ain't one of my dogs, why do you hound her? This chick got a little Porsche body, I might let the bro test drive it. Fam over gram, that's my MO. On my mama, by the way. Gotta make sure it's on your mama. Fuck a close friends, I got friends that I keep close. When I hear these types of lyrics from the dude who says that he's the best in his generation, I'm wondering what exactly he's the best of.
Opening up a can of worms, in your opinion, white rappers generally,
they're trash.
They're trash.
They're garbage. They don't offer anything. They come in and they generally adopt a sound and a style that's already in existence. And I don't know what it is. And I feel like people they just have maybe the Stockholm syndrome. It happens with almost every, and of course there are outliers, but when it comes to the mainstream, point of view, most people are like, oh yeah, here's a new one. And they adopt, kind of the hip hop style, add nothing to it, move from it, and people kind of forget about him. And then the next one comes in and do the same thing. With Jack Harlow, I think people look at him as so much more authentic because he is or comes across as such a nice dude, just such a genuinely cool person. And he seems really respectful for the most part of, other cultures and their demographic from what I've seen. And I'm never have I seen that level of personality able to carry someone so far when the music is just so average, or the music is just so there's nothing about it that takes anything farther. That's why I likened him to maybe a Big Sean, because of how much hate I know he got for his time. And it leaves my mind wondering what other reason would this person be preferred over this one, even though they made the same style. And even at that time, if I had to compare Jack Harlow now to Big Sean then, I would still say Big Sean would be better. I don't know what it is about white artists for the most part that just makes it so, yeah, this is the one. This is the one we got to go with. When there are a million other of the exact same of this guy that are black, that do the same thing and that do it better for the most part.
When you say don't contribute to the culture, do you think in your mind, is it a matter of can't or is it a matter of won't?
I think it's a matter of they aren't required to.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have the ability to. There are some incredibly talented white rappers.
Well, with that being said, and I mean, obviously, yeah, there are. I agree with what you're saying. If it's a matter of they can, but they're not required to, or they don't. In your mind, what would it take for a white rapper to do that? What is the bar?
What would he have to do? I think he would have to be in a style that's so much different than what we already have. I don't know what that would look like, but I know what not doing it looks like. I know what coming in with the same thing that everyone else has right now, I know what that looks like, what it feels like, and I see when people gravitate toward it. I can see what that looks like. I don't know what it would look like if someone did come out and they're like, oh yeah, I'm about to add this totally new thing. When I look at, now if you wanted to switch the conversation from maybe white rappers to white producers, that would be a totally different ball game. White producers have way more value than the entertainers seem to. But when I'm just looking at the rapper, I'm like, you're not necessary. And that's okay, because a lot of people, black or white, whatever, aren't necessary when you look at, something like hip hop or rap music. But I guess when you look at it in its entirety, how much you're watering it down, how much you're taking the value of it down by coming in and basically adding nothing new.
Yeah. No, I mean, so what you're saying is your preference is again, bring something new, bring something different, bring your own style, whether it's a mainstream record or an underground record, it being standout. Just listening to you say this, I'm sort of having this thought off the top of my head. Maybe this kind of contributes to this, I'll say pattern that we're observing, because I see it as well. You know, hip hop as a genre and as a culture is obviously so deeply like rooted in Black struggle. And the most important, or what we see as like the deepest records in the style, like relate pretty directly to that. But that's not something that white people can obviously do. You know what I mean? Right. So in order to sort of like, you know, gain a large audience, maybe many of them, and Jack Harlow kind of flirted with this in a way, because you remember he had kind of that verse during the XXL freshman freestyle, or was it the cypher where I think it was the freestyle where he kind of reflected on the George Floyd protests and everything. Yeah. Like, you know, you're going to have people every once in a while that I guess flirt with that idea, but given that they can't plug into that and maybe make a deep record in that sense, like maybe going pop rapper is the more easy route, because other than that, like the alternative, or at least like what's portrayed in the mainstream as being acceptable for you to do if you're going to do something deeper, is like you go the Eminem route, where you're like, I'm eating MCs, I'm saving hip hop, I'm going to change the game. And, you know, beyond that, like what you're doing is like getting in your feels and talking about all of your like personal trauma. And that's not everybody's vibe.
Yeah, I think there are people who've been able to do that successfully without needing to try to emulate like Blackness, or try to tackle topics with such a vague understanding of what it is that they're talking about that it just comes out cringy. I think Mac Miller did that pretty well. And he garnered a fan base, I guess, that was just so closely like related to his struggle, either Black or white. I think he was one of the only few to be able to do that so successfully, and no one really cared that he was white. You know, he seemed to have a better understanding of the climate, a better understanding of his position. He was far more respectful, I think, to what hip hop generally was. And I think, you know, even looking at the other people in the industry that respected him, he worked with so many people. Like it didn't seem like there was anyone outside of his range that he was willing to attack a song with, you know. And I guess that's what I would appreciate, is someone who appreciates the same things that are already there that everyone else kind of knows about, and is attaching themselves to artistic movements. Maybe like I see Anderson .Paak, for example, or I see maybe Black Milk. You know, I know, even though you know, this is off topic, Lil Yachty, for example, he recently had like this love interest in Detroit, you know, and
he did that tape.
He had like a bit of a Detroit rap in general. Like it seemed to have a bit more of a popularity surge after he like kind of inserted himself into it. I think that's better when you make music with it, instead of trying to take it and run with it, acting as if like you came up with it, or this is something that's just like this fresh new idea that's just for you only. You know, there's a respectful way to do it. And I think Mac Miller was probably one of the only few to be able to do that, and no one give him shit for it.
No, I agree in terms of like the artistry and the novelty of what he brought to the table. It's night and day with Jack Harlow. But, you know, like weirdly, the thing also with Jack Harlow is, I mean, I don't know if this is your perspective. This is just what I'm sort of like seeing on music Twitter and just the general music discussion. But with Jack Harlow, there seems to be a lot of like cross-cultural appeal as well. I mean, have you seen the fucking shit women say about this guy? Like what I'll cut off my fucking box braids for Jack Harlow. Like it's insane. Like people go absolutely fucking gaga for Jack Harlow, like all over Twitter. And
I think it's Stockholm syndrome.
Do you think? You think it's Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, I think that's just what it is. It seems to happen the exact same way. Obviously, like people are poking fun. Like, okay, if you find like Jack Harlow like attractive or something like that, or you still like his music, I'm not saying like don't like his music. I'm not saying you can't fuck with him or anything like that. But if you're looking at him from like a critical point of view, yeah, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And from my eyes, I look at it as like, oh, here we go again. When is it going to be his turn? You know, I look at even Post Malone. I remember how well he was received when he first came out. And I'm not saying that people still don't love his music and enjoy it now, but it definitely isn't the same type of reception, at least from Black people, that they had. That reaction isn't there the way it was. You know, and I feel like that is inevitable for Jack Harlow unless he does something different.
I mean, one other thing that I'll say about Jack, and then we'll move on to another topic that, you know, didn't necessarily come up in your video, which I think is maybe one of the biggest contributors to his success so far. I'll say it like, even though there's not a whole lot of substance there, when it comes to his performance and just like writing style, for lack of a better term, he's just smooth with it.
Right.
Smoother than your average white boy. And
cool.
you know,
100%.
because again, like the general experience that you're having in that realm is like, again, I'm a lyrical miracle spiritual. I'm gonna change the game, the main frame, blah 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 blah. And you know, it's like there's just so much hubris in that, and I feel like generally in terms of especially like mainstream hip hop, a lot of people want to just vibe to something, just like want to relax, just want to enjoy themselves, and Jack just like allows you to do that. He just allows you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to fall asleep too. I don't know what else I'd do with it, to be honest. Like I listen to it, I'm just like, it is what it is, you know. And you know, you like them, that's great. I'll shut the fuck up. Like if my friends are around me, they want to play some Jack Harlow, play some Jack Harlow. I'm gonna pretend to vibe out. It's not that big of a deal, honestly. But yeah, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I wish they would turn this off. But it's fine.